Welcome to the BeStrong Show. I am your host, Michelle Shirley, CEO and Chief Heart Officer for BeStrong International. I am so glad that you've joined us today. We're having a really amazing show for you. Really quickly, I want to let you know about our fundraising event coming up called Hearts in Rhythm, where we are going to have just so much fun celebrating a night of philanthropy and all of the work that BeStrong does in healing families, mending families, allowing people to love themselves well so that they can love others well. We want to celebrate all the kids, parents, married couples that we serve throughout the years. And so we want you to be there Thursday, March 14th at the Rusty Pelican. See you there. Visit our website to learn more. All right. Today I have an amazing guest, I would call a dear friend, and in this field of work especially. Her name is Miss Tova Kreps. She is the president of Wellspring Counseling. And so welcome, Tova, to the show. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Michelle. It's just great to be here. And I do consider you a friend, so I'm glad to join you for this today.
Yes. I know we connected a while ago, and we went deep really fast.
I
remember
I do too.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, in this space of doing this work where it's so taxing, we're caring for the community, and at the same time, we need care, right? And we need support. I would say that it was a great win for the both of us to connect that day. And so I'm just glad you're here. I want to get into the nitty gritty really fast of the mental health field. And post-COVID, I want you to share with the viewers what you've seen now transpire in this landscape of the need of services for therapists and this epidemic of depression and trauma and loneliness.
Well, it definitely has changed since COVID. I think COVID tipped people from thinking, in a good way, we got rid of some of the mental health stigmas. So we used to think those people had problems and the rest of us are kind of okay. And then we realized, if you give me enough pressure, I could tip too. Everybody could a little bit. And so we had a 20% rise in therapy requests in that year of COVID, the main year. And so we just saw a surge. And so I think it was a good thing that happened in that the stigma was decreased. People now care more about mental health. I think telehealth becoming a real option. We crossed that line. And so people are desperately wanting to come back in person because we need that, but it also works through telehealth. So I think that's been a great thing. Insurance payers are paying more because they realize they need to. It's a real need. It does affect your physical health. But I also think we've seen increases in actual mental health needs. So it's not just more exposed or more accepted. I think we really do have, and statistics say we have more suicide, we have more depression, we have more anxiety, a lot with our youth. There's a long list. We could talk all day about all the causes of that, whether it's technology or all these different ways we communicate in our fast-paced life and the stress of too many decisions, too many choices, and too much information overload. There are a lot of reasons, but it definitely has increased.
Wow. I was reading your bio, and your experience in this is just incredible. Over 30 years, you've been in this work of therapy.
I started when I was really amazing.
Right. When she was 2, guys. She started when she was 2. But I wanted to ask you, I think for me, the question is more so, what's really pressing now? Do you see more of rates of people really saying that they're depressed? Is it anxiety? And how have you been able to grow your business through this sort of need?
Well, I think you pegged it. So depression is increased. I think, again, I don't know all the societal reasons, but the quantity of information, we didn't used to know as much, and now we hear bad news all the time instantly. It's overwhelming. Anxiety is related. I think that's similar reasons. But I also think that relationships are more disjointed because of our being on our devices, that some of those disconnects that are happening. So relationships are stressed as well. And then we work in the realm of trauma, and so bad things happen to people. and we're more aware that they affect us than we used to. You just kind of bootstrap and keep going, and you didn't talk about it and nobody knew about it, and somehow you moved on. I still believe those effects were just as real then for people.
Wow.
But I think we're more aware of it now, that these bad things are happening to other people and to me. And so there's a quantity issue that multiplies it.
Tell me more about your take on how you are dealing with those who come to you with this trauma that they've experienced. Because you seem to be, even, based on your experience, sort of like this guru around how to help people through their traumatic experiences, right? And teaching them resiliency. So talk to me a little bit about your approach and how you came up with some of your methodologies around navigating people through their traumas.
Okay. Yeah, our niche at Wellspring is trauma, and when a therapist comes, we pressure them and they all get advanced training. So we have kind of a big group of people who focus on that. My practice changed many years ago when I got trained in EMDR, and I realized the sensory issues related to trauma. When something bad happens to you and your body kicks in physically to help survive, you store the memories differently. That's what we call trauma. So it's a bad thing that happens that your body responds to with stress. And so you store it in the sensory and not in words. And so there are different ways that comes at it. When I realized that could be cured, that we can get to where we don't have to just be handicapped with a trauma, forever damaged, but we could actually heal it. It changed my practice. And so that's what we do. So I have developed, I've got a team of people who work with me, but have developed a curriculum for resilience on the steps that you kind of go through, make sense out of that mess of emotions that you can't make sense of.
Right.
Am I getting better? Am I getting worse? I might feel worse first. So you kind of know that. Just like if you go for knee surgery, the doctor says, you feel worse for the first 3 days, and then this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And so we do the same thing in trauma. This is what it's going to look like to get better. So people have a map for that. And then we have programs that have a lot of sensory related issues. So you can take those senses and use art expression and work with the sight, sound, smells, images of the work, as well as group therapy and individual therapy. And so it's powerful to put that all together. I think if you think like surgery, if you go for surgery, you don't go in 1 week and have the anesthesia, and the next week they cut on you, right?
Right.
So trauma therapy is ideally intensive, because once you get in and you allow someone permission and safety to bring up all their issues and the feelings and the memories and everything that goes with it, you got to come alongside of them the whole time until they're kind of patched back together and can go back out and heal. Wow. And so that's what we do. We come alongside people while they get in those hard questions. Where was God? My guilt, my shame, all those things. So that's what we do.
Wow.
We care for people in that process of healing.
I love that. That's so good. And I'm thinking it must be difficult for someone, though, to consider giving you permission.
Absolutely. We have a free program for kids called Bounce for an intensive trauma therapy for them, for kids who've had terrible things happen. And kids think I'm the only one, more than us adults, because it looks like all the other kids on Instagram are always happy, and so they really feel it. And it's free. We have it county funded, and we have to cast a huge net to get a few people to come and say, I'll do it. But when they know they're in pain and we offer that safe place, they come. Usually, and we always say, you can come the first day, you can quit after that. And they never do, but because it is very hard. How would I give you permission to, talk to a stranger about the most painful thing in my life? It's a hard ask.
Yeah.
So we encourage and we welcome and we invite people, but it is a hard ask. People have to say, am I willing to look at this? Do I trust Wellspring enough to take care of me, or this therapist or this person? It's a big decision to make, to trust somebody.
It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing.
We need a chief heart officer.
I know. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I'm thinking too, sometimes I feel like the audiences that we even share this with, if they're not in our sort of like nonprofit space, people don't know what's really happening on the ground, right? And so I want you to share a little bit about what you see kids really coming in with, so that the people today that are watching can say, I can either relate to that, or I wouldn't want that to happen to another kid. I would love for you to share, obviously not giving away a specific client story, but just what are you seeing on the ground so that people can really know this work needs to be funded, right?
Well, trauma is relative to how dangerous you think something is. So we may have kids who come in with just bullying, but just bullying can be life-changing. Kids commit suicide over it, and so bullying can be profoundly offensive to people and affecting the kids. But we have kids who come in maybe some of these at-risk neighborhoods who've witnessed violence in their home, domestic violence in their neighborhoods, shootings nearby. Sometimes we have kids who come, though, that are from other walks of life, so who've had cancer. So illnesses, where they think the rest of the world is healthy, and here I am, laid up in bed and out of school, and am I going to live? And so we have medical illnesses, we have death, a lot of major losses, death of loved ones, that were important to them. And particularly if you add to that, if it's a traumatic death, a sudden car accident or a suicide. But sometimes it's not traumatic. It's just traumatic to you because your world changes the day your mom dies. I mean, it does. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So we also have abuse, so physical abuse, sexual abuse. We've worked with human trafficking, young people who've gotten in human trafficking. So sometimes it's those big things, but other times they're big to the person who's coming.
Yeah.
And they need to be taken care of too.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you were able to name that, because I feel like, again, I think people need to hear what's really going on with kids and even with adults, right? What they're struggling with, so that people can say or make a choice as to whether or not they want to, take the money out of their pocket to say, I want to support or sponsor a child, right? That wants to, get healed or go through the healing.
And we have a youth fund. Just for you, so people can designate, I just want to help young people.
I love that. I love that. That's great. Tell me more about, you have this program called The Art of Listening. And I'm just like, I think every married couple might need to take that course when it comes to listening, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that. I think that's interesting.
Well, it's kind of grown for me. We do the storytelling side, in all our trauma work and things like that. And it's powerful to tell a story. It's also powerful human connection to hear a story. But I think people don't listen. We don't have places and opportunities to listen very much in our society, to be heard. And so I can't fix you being heard, but I can train you to listen, and maybe someone will return the favor. But so we talk about the power of speaking and listening, storytelling and listening, and how it is healing. That husband-wife thing is like that we all have, where, the husband thinks you just want me to fix it, and no, I just want you to listen to me, right? And so the disconnect there is that we don't realize that listening is doing something. We think we're listening in order to make a decision or solve it, but the listening itself is a healing agent. And so teaching people how to listen, how to not interrupt, how to respond, how to separate when they respond from when they listen, I have a list of 10 skills, and we do all need them with our kids, with our parents, with our spouses, with our friends, with our colleagues. We have this thing where we think, if I let you say it, I've agreed. And that in our cancel culture, that's really true. We don't want to hear your side, because if I even let you speak it, I've condoned. That's not true. You can speak it, and I can listen without interrupting and with respect, and I can say, I have a different view than you do, but thank you for sharing. Like, that just doesn't happen anymore. And we also don't let people tell their whole stories very often. So in normal dialogue, you're supposed to take turns. So as soon as I start telling my story, you say, oh, and that reminds me of you behind. And we do this back and forth thing. And it's great relationally to grow that way, but we never finish. Have you ever been at something where you started to tell a story, never got to finish it?
Right, yeah.
So training people to actually let people tell their whole story. Oh, it's just like the greatest gift ever to have someone not interrupt and let you finish.
Yeah. But we don't slow down to even do that, right? It takes that slowing down, and it takes, I think for me, it's interesting you say that, because I've been working on lately, when someone walks into my office, stop, turn, and actually listen, right?
Very good.
And it's been this, I have this still edge, like, but I need to send this email, right? And so I'm listening, and I'm doing the multitasking, or even with the kids.
Exactly.
And just being more aware, I think, also is something that, should be just, I don't know if people are aware of the fact
We're
that
not. So I just try to teach to help people be aware. And I think God has had me teach this for decades, because I'm still being reminded to do it myself. They're like, how can you teach listening, my family? How can you teach listening, Tova? So, because I'm working at it. It is hard. I was in court recently, just as in the audience, and it's the only place I can imagine where nobody talks until somebody finishes. And it's so slow. It's so painful. I thought I was going to implode sitting in the little pew going, oh my
goodness.
It takes time. And that's why it's a gift to give to people, because it does take time. And we want to do 10 more things.
That's powerful.
It's hard.
Patience is a gift.
It is.
Oh my goodness, that's powerful. See, these nuggets are just coming through the screen. I love it. Okay. Well, I want to shift a bit to our social yaks game. You're aware of this game. And so I want the audience to get to know you better as well. You're an amazing leader in your own right in this movement. And we're just going to have a little fun here. So I want you to choose the first card, Breaking the Ice, and then you're going to read it aloud and then answer the question. So let's get to know you.
So it's hard for me to remember quotes. This says, what's your favorite quote? But one I put on my slides sometimes when I'm teaching is by John Breyer, who's a trauma specialist. And he says, healing is feeling great pain in the presence of great love. I love that quote.
Wow.
That we heal by being loved while people listen to our pain. So anyway, that's one I can remember.
Wow. And I can see you get moved by that.
I do. It's true.
It's incredible work. Yeah, that's powerful. All right. Let's take another one.
All right. Go deeper,
No.
right?
Which
another color? Another one of these.
Break the ice. Yeah,
okay.
Break the ice a little more.
At a party, where can someone find you? Well, there's the food.
So she loves food, guys.
And we won't talk about the drinks on the show, but actually, sometimes I go to a lot of events with my husband, and sometimes that social chit chat is hard for me because I'm actually an introvert. Oh, and so I love people, so I don't always look like an introvert, but I actually am. So I might be hiding a little bit. Or if I'm happy and successful for the evening, I will be sort of in the side having a really deep, meaningful conversation with somebody. So I kind of go into these events looking for someone to have something meaningful to talk.
Because we went to an event together where my son was there, and you and I, that's how we just started talking and connecting. True. And you were not on the dance floor. That is correct.
That's true. I do like to dance, though,
but you
just for the record.
I don't remember seeing you that night. All right, we're going to move to the next level. Let's get social.
What are you most passionate about? Can I ignore the word most? Because I probably have a good 5 solid things.
Okay.
I think just it shows in my work and where I spend all my time and energy, other than family and things like that. But and art and things I like. But I am most passionate about helping people move closer to God or to understand or appreciate Him, that He's good, that He's safe, that He's present, that He. So one of the things about doing trauma work is it helps people wrestle with where was God and is He good and does He love me and those things, because you get there quickly. And I'm passionate about them knowing that God is there and He is good. And so it's not always like this become a Christian thing. It's a trust God more thing. I think that's what I'm most passionate about.
Wow.
Spent my life.
Powerful, powerful. And what a legacy you are leaving behind, my friend.
Okay, you got more. Okay.
Yes.
If money or education weren't an issue, what would you love to do for a living? Well, I'd like to think I would do exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I want to get a doctorate, but I'm just probably never going to do that. But money would actually allow me to love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about what I'm doing, but I don't always love it because it's hard. And if I had limitless money, I would just be fun all day, every day. Because I got ideas. I got lots of ideas.
Right. I think that's our problem as visionaries. Lots of ideas. And then the team is like, no more ideas, please. Let's stick
I've
with the
learned to
first
dole
thing.
them out. I write them on a list that they don't know because they get overwhelmed. And I'm like, okay, but, so now I have a 10-year plan that they haven't seen yet, But
we need a round table about that. Just that.
But money would free up the joy in work, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I think, yeah. And is that, just to dig a little deeper, is that because of the nonprofit fundraising side of it as far as the money?
Yeah, mental health loses money. That's why the big hospitals don't do outpatient mental health. So as an industry, it doesn't stand alone with any overhead at all. And nonprofit is asking people to support other people to have healing. So it's just hard work. It's fun to give. It's fun to see, and it's rewarding to do it. And I think it's good for us to ask and to invite people to join us in the pleasure of doing the ministry. So it's not all negative, It's just that it's hard.
Yeah, I get it. I just wanted you to share it. I understand what you're saying. I just want you to share it with the audience because
it's hard work to do the work and to encourage people to join you in doing the work.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. Yes. I get it. All right, we're gonna dig deeper.
Okay.
These are deeper questions now.
What's something you would change about yourself and something you wouldn't? Well, I don't know if this is all that deep on what I would change. I would be more disciplined.
Everybody wants that,
I know,
right?
but it's true, I'm back at the gym again. Okay. I took a few months off, and I'm back on my, nutrition and healthy. I'm on my healthy efforts, and so I would change my personal discipline and even the order in my home. Right. So I would change that. I'm always wanting to, and trying to strive for that. Something I wouldn't. I think. I don't want to sound braggy, but I have feedback from others that my authenticity is a piece of who I am, and I wouldn't want to change that. So it gets me in trouble sometimes because I say what I think and I mean what I say, and sometimes you should just be quiet, but there's not a surprise or a deception or an angle, and so I think that helps people trust me.
Just you genuinely being you.
Me.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right, we've got time for one more.
Okay.
Let's go a little deeper.
I think I kind of answered this now. What is something you think people do not understand about you? And I think I kind of answered that, that I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
People get surprised by that. And I think people sometimes think I'm like at church, you're aloof or you're ignoring me. And I literally am not. So I don't think they understand that I just sort of sometimes get in a zone.
Yeah.
And
you may have to share that more. Because I think as a CEO or a president, people expect for you to be this, not just fundraiser, not just running the business, but this extrovert, you're networking, you're doing all these things. And not everybody wants to do that, right? Or is ingrained in some of these areas to be able to do that. So I think...
Yeah, I think I do have to share that. And I've had to become 3 different times in my life. I've had people come up to me after they've thought and prayed about it to ask me if I was offended by them or if I was angry at them. And in all 3 instances, I was completely at peace with them. I had no negative, nothing. And so once it happened more than once, I realized, I come off that way. And that's
Yeah.
not good.
I know.
And I don't mean to. So
You don't mean to.
I
Yeah.
apologize and whatever. And I try to be much more conscious of it as a leader.
Yeah.
But I recognize that can happen.
Yeah.
I have a very good friend now who says, yes, I used to think you were aloof, but now I finally made it through and we're friends. I feel so bad, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I do need to tell people, and if I've done that to you, please come and ask forgiveness, and I will. I mean, let me repent and ask forgiveness.
I cannot.
Because I think I want it at my funeral. I've thought about leaving a little card in my funeral. Please forgive me if you ever thought I ignored you, to everyone who's out there.
I was just wanting to be in my own space because being around people makes me nervous or whatever. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm not that bad, but there are occasions. So yes, I think people need to understand that about me.
They will know after today.
Thank you.
This is too funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the last level of the game. This was great. It's about opening up and connecting. And this last card, you're going to read it, but I'm going to answer it for you. So I'll be the one to kind of seal.
You're the wisdom
this.
giver.
Well, just for today.
Okay. If everyone had a special mission in life, what do you think mine would be?
I think you're already working in your special mission. I think the concept of wanting to be that instrument to heal others is just profound. And it's something so intricately delicate that God has given you and using you in this way as a gift to others. And you are multiplying this in so many ways. I mean, to grow from 5 therapists or 2 to now over 30 is just incredible. So I think you're already in your mission, and I'm hoping that you get all the resources that you need, because I don't think there's a person that doesn't need healing in some way. Mm-hmm. In some way, right? We're all engaging in relationships with different people. And so hurt happens, right? Misunderstandings happen. Unmet expectations happen. Us even not being kind to ourselves can happen, right? And so here you are saying, I'm this safe space, this open door, and I'm giving you permission to let all of this come out and for me to reflect it back to you in a way that makes sense to you so that you can walk in your healing. I think when people walk away from that, they're forever changed, right? And the legacy that they birth changes. And that's all because of you.
Thank you.
So I think you're walking in it, and I think you're doing amazing. I admire you. I know more about you today than I did yesterday. And I think you're just an incredible human being. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm super proud of you, and I'm cheering you on the sidelines, like, do your thing. I want you, though, to take a moment. We have 2 minutes left, and I want you, if there's someone today that you know is hurting and they are just contemplating, you know, should they go to counseling? I don't know if I want to give someone permission to go into that space. I don't know if I want to unload like that. Maybe it's this, like you said, the past of strapping up your boots and just going through it. What would you say to that person if you could convince them to take a step of faith towards getting some help? And then this is
okay.
Yeah.
I would say just take a risk. So there's some safety nets. One is you can go and you can always stop. The other is you don't have to say anything you don't want to say. You won't be forced to reveal. Nobody's going to read your mind. It just might make a difference, and it might work. I believe it profoundly will. I want to say to you, there's hope. I want to say, don't give up. I want to say, just be honest. Go with your full messy self, and don't try to make a good impression, because then you've wasted your money and time and energy. And that there's real hope. People can change. It doesn't matter how old we are. It doesn't matter how set we are in our ways. It can be hard, but it can be good. And also, sometimes there's this thing that I'm going to go to therapy forever and I have to do this forever. And that's not true either. You can go and work on one thing at a time and come back the next year and pick another thing. It's kind of like going to the gym. Are you working on endurance? Are you working on strength? Are you working on your body? And you can do the same thing in therapy. You can go and enhance a marriage or a relationship with a family member, or you can dig deep and you can, become resilient, or you can just become more positive and have better habits. So take the risk. The risk is for you. And I would encourage you to just know there's hope.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. Where can they find out more about you?
wellspringmiami.org. Find us on our website. Call our phone. Someone's there to help match you with a therapist. We do counseling, professional licensed counseling. We do mental health education, and we have programs, specialized programs, particularly for trauma. So wellspringmiami.org.
Awesome. Well, Tova, it was a pleasure to have you on the show today. Just a very moving, amazing show today. I hope you learned and got something out of it. Here at BeStrong, we love you, we care for you, and you can reach out to us as well, BeStrongINTL.org, and see you next time.